Probably the most essential part of our build going on the car today. These cars are known for high engine oil temperatures at the track, even in stock form. When we were out at Mid-Ohio a couple weeks ago, I saw the temps reach into the 260s, which isn't completely outrageous, but we really don't want to be pushing it too far, because once that oil gets too hot, it's going to start breaking down and not lubricate properly, which could ultimately end up in us blowing a motor, which is something I completely want to avoid. So we're going to be installing the Perrin Oil Cooler today, and that's going to help drop those temps about 60, 70 degrees and keep us in that nice optimal range. It does come with a thermostatic sandwich plate that opens up at 185 degrees, and that's going to make sure that our oil is allowed to get to operating temperature before it starts being cooled down. The install process isn't too difficult. We just need to remove the front bumper and oil filter, and then we can install the spacer, sandwich plate, route the lines, install the oil cooler itself, prime the oil system, add in the extra quart of oil, and then if there aren't any leaks, we can reinstall the bumper, and that should take care of our oil temps. Let's take a quick look at what all is included in the kit. Obviously, we've got the oil cooler itself, got a Mocal sandwich plate, threaded adapter, Perrin oil filter spacer. Perrin actually throws in an OEM Subaru oil filter, so shout out to them for that. Got some nice oil lines with AN fittings, the mounting brackets and hardware for the oil cooler, some zip ties to tidy up the lines, installation instructions, and a license plate bracket and some stickers. Overall, really nice, well put together kit. Includes basically everything we need besides the extra quart of oil. Bumper removal is pretty self-explanatory. There's just some 10mm bolts and pop clips up top that we'll need to remove. Side markers need to be removed. I no longer have mine because I didn't want to deal with them with how many times I'm going to be taking this bumper on and off. Once those are out of the way, there is a pop clip in here that you'll need to remove, as well as some in the wheel well. We'll need to remove the pop clips on the bottom as well, and then we can remove the bumper, unplug the lights, and set it aside. Now we can unscrew your oil filter. We're gonna throw the Perrin adapter on there first. Make sure before you install this, you apply a little bit of oil to the O-ring here, and that O-ring is on the bottom side. Then the sandwich plate goes on top, same thing, a little bit of oil on that O-ring there. And then take the threaded adapter and hand tighten that into place. Don't tighten it down just yet. We want to be able to move this around a little bit to make sure everything clears, and then we can tighten it down. We're going to route the lines next. You want the 45-degree AN fittings going up top. We're going to go above the windshield washer reservoir, above the crash beam right here, but underneath the filler neck. Once you have the lines routed up here, we can thread them onto the sandwich plate, keeping in mind that the right one here, when you're facing the engine, is going to be the longer hose, and the left one is going to be the shorter hose. Now you don't want to tighten these down just yet. Just like the sandwich plate, we want to be able to move it around and make sure we have everything where we want it. Go ahead and install the mounting brackets onto the oil cooler using the flathead bolts. Once you've done that, we can remove the caps on the oil cooler, and you'll want to take a little bit of oil and put them on the threads inside here, as well as the threads on the AN fittings and the O-ring, to make sure you have a good seal. Now when you're threading these in here, the shorter line is going to go on the right side here. Not going to tighten these down just yet. With those lines threaded in, now we can take the oil cooler and we're going to mount it using these two pre-existing holes. You're probably going to have some pop clips in there, so go ahead and remove those and take the long bolts and washers and thread it into the mount. You can tighten those 2 bolts down. I think Perrin said around 15 foot-pounds. Just make sure you're not overdoing it. So now we basically have everything in place. We just need to tidy up the lines with the included zip ties. So I've got them spread out here. I also drilled a hole in this plastic diverter to zip tie into that location and have it secured to the reservoir using this hole as well to keep it away from the crash beam. Up top, this harness is going to be clipped into the hole you see there. Go ahead and unclip it and move it out of the way. I also took a little bit of rubber hosing and put it over the edge here just to protect against any rubbing. With the lines tidied up, we can go ahead and tighten down all of the fittings. Torque the threaded adapter down to roughly 25 foot-pounds. Take your oil filter, put some oil around that O-ring there, and install it onto the car. We've got everything installed on the car. Now all that's left to do is to prime the oil system. So what we gotta do is hop inside the car, press your foot down all the way on the throttle, 100% throttle. Try and start the car. It shouldn't turn on, but it should turn over. Let it do that for about 5 seconds. Stop, wait 10 seconds, and do it one more time. And then we can actually start the car and let it run for 10 seconds. Turn it off, come outside and inspect the lines, make sure there are no leaks. If nothing is leaking, we can add in the extra oil at that time. Now, I'm probably not gonna add the whole quart of oil at first. Probably gonna start with about half a quart, and then we're gonna start the car, let it run for 5 minutes, and then again, come outside and check the lines and check the oil levels and add more if necessary. If nothing is leaking then, we are good to go. We can reinstall the front bumper and we're done. If you guys wanna pick one of these up for yourself, I'll leave a link down in the description. I'm gonna be headed out to Road America next weekend, so I'll keep my eye on the oil temps and let you guys know if there are any improvements. I'll see you guys next time.